We're going to talk, we're going to keep it real. Just talking about steroids in the UFC. Steroids in the UFC. Now, I had made a video, I don't know, some months back, called Claudia Gadelha is taking steroids, and there was a bunch of comments in there. People did not like that video. How dare you say this person's taking steroids? Okay, alright. So, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to make a video that says, Ronda Rousey is on steroids, or this person's on steroids. Okay, I'm going to open people's eyes, get an idea of the reality of sports and competition, and the reality of people that fight, that do marathons, that do triathlons, people that compete. Look I was a personal trainer for a long time. I've been personal friends with professional cyclists, triathletes. One of my best friends has done over 40 marathons. Over 40 marathons. One of my best friends. Okay? I train fitness competitors. I'm at bodybuilding shows. I was their trainer. I've been in this. And I'm going to just take, things that I've seen and put this in. I mean, I see these people in the UFC. They're acting exactly like people that I've known that were taking gear, that were gassed up. All right? You see, the depression issues. Ronda Rousey is now, not only was she manhandling these girls for how long, right? Okay, and then just the real bravado and just her personality. Now she's lost and she's talking suicide. I mean, a guy I used to work with was a bodybuilder. He's no longer alive. He shot himself in the head after he was done competing. He was in his 40s. Probably went off the roids, and he killed himself. He's dead. I mean, there's so many. I see so many things in fighters that I've seen in life firsthand, that I've witnessed firsthand. And let me tell you what, anybody that gets involved, guys like me who work out because we care about our health and our well-being, that's not somebody that gets into fighting. If you care about health and fitness and your well-being, you don't get into fighting. Fighting is not good for you. It's very dangerous. You could die. You get your jaw broken. You're gonna, at some point, you're going to be fighting on an amateur level for free. Okay, it's not something that somebody who really cares about their health gets into. It's somebody that wants to fight and somebody that's competitive. Same thing goes for marathons. People that do marathons don't care about training their heart and you know what I mean? People who care about training their heart and maybe lowering their cholesterol, they're more interested in maybe going for a walk. Go for a 1 mile walk, or maybe go for a jog, right? Or go ride a bicycle. People that do marathons, it's about competition. And all the people I've known that I've seen in this, the only thing they know is winning and doing better than somebody else and doing better than they've done before. That's competition. There's no such thing as cheating in sports. There's no such thing as cheating in competition. It does not exist in their minds. Okay, that's something people have to understand. If you show up at Boston Marathon and you're not often geared up for the marathon, you're going to lose. You're not going to place because all these other people are gassed up. I mean, I know these people that train, these cyclists and everything. These guys. I know these people. They where I live, there's a road. I better not say the name of the street. It's basically like a highway. These guys, how they train? They go out and just start riding. Okay, it's because they're all on gear, man. They're all gassed up. They just ride a bicycle. I mean, that's what it does to you. It makes you It makes you, take Conor McGregor, for example. Now, if I were to say Conor McGregor's on steroids, there'd be a huge backlash. But I've known people, when I see them on gear, they're very bravado. They're just like, all they talk about is me, 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 me. How do I look? How good is this? This girl likes me. Look at my car. It's like extreme. It's just like everything manly and testosterone driven. It's just like an insane amount of testosterone. And there was one guy in our gym, we called him Steroid Dave, and I knew him very well. He told me, I knew what steroids the guy was taking even. I mean, he just liked to talk about it. This guy would come in the gym just gassed up, man. He was purple, this guy. He would be lifting weights. He would walk across from where he was lifting, walk past a whole row of treadmills, and, to go fill up his water, act like he's getting a sip of water, fill up his water bottle, and he'd walk by, like, where all these girls are running on the treadmill, and he'd be flexing, and he'd have a shirt, a muscle shirt that's like, you know what I mean, a tank top that's like a string, and the guy's just gassed up, and he's like, and as he's walking by, he would turn, like, he was walking, he would turn and point, and look at a girl in the eye, like, he would be like, point, like, I caught you looking at me. Well, of course they're looking at him. I mean, the guy was like a freak. He was a freaky looking guy, just gassed up, you know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know, maybe some of those girls were attracted to them. He did have some hot girls from time to time. But, I mean, even the girls that weren't attracted to him, of course they're looking at him. He's freaking, he's gassed up on roids. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and so, I see these signs like in someone like Conor McGregor. It's like, it's just like extreme bravado, and it's all about the money. It's all about me, 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 me. And, not to single somebody out, single Claudia Gadelha out, because I wasn't. This is just for all fighters. It's a slippery slope of what they can get away with. But guys, don't think that even with this stringent drug testing that these people cannot get away with this. I mean, Lance Armstrong went years and years and years. I mean, this guy was taking so many drugs, man. He never got busted for anything. Never. So there's ways around getting busted. And I think a lot of it has to do with just who you're paying off. You got George St. Pierre. I mean, he's another one. I mean, this guy, like, don't even get me started on him. His symptoms are more in the way he looks. Like, I've been around bodybuilders, even female bodybuilders. They might, like a female bodybuilder, she might be pretty, but then you see her under certain light, or a certain angle in a certain picture, and she's got their roided out face. You know what I mean? They look like they're, like real intense. In GSP, every once in a while in a picture, you would see that. You would see that roid face. Okay, I would personally see it. And not to mention that he only fought in Canada. You know what I mean? Who's testing this guy? You know what I mean? But I'm not singling these people out. This is pretty much all fighters. If you show up and you think you're going to fight natural and you're going to get in there and fight with these guys, you're going to just absolutely get destroyed. I mean, people just do not realize this. I think even sometimes fighters themselves don't realize this. I think Renan Barão, I think he went off steroids when they went in with stringent drug testing. Maybe he was afraid he was going to lose, and he looked horrible against T.J. Dillashaw. And I believe it was because of the drug testing, and he was afraid of getting caught. But, I mean, maybe he was naive. Maybe he thought he was going up against somebody that wasn't all geared up. You know what I mean? And he just got completely worked. I mean, really, he probably would have been better off to just fight and get busted for steroids than to go in there and lose. I mean, most people... I mean, it's a complicated thing. But I said Ronda Rousey. But don't think for a second that Ronda Rousey on steroids, who has all the symptoms of everything that I've personally seen in other people, you know, not just the way they act, but even now after she lost, like I said, talk about suicide and all these things. Don't think for a second that, you know, that Holly Holm, you know, knocks out this girl who has been destroying all these girls, and she's standing there like this, and she's got bulging traps in a manly jaw and a swollen clitoris. Go look at the weigh-in picture. Did she pass a drug test? I mean, I'm sure that she did pass some drug test somehow. I don't know what they're doing, but don't think for a second, oh, that was also stronger than Ronda Rousey. Don't think for a second that Holly Holm is not gassed up and on gear. This is part of the sport. I mean, what the drug testing and what you know, people's perception of we want clean fighters, what that does do is it does somewhat keep it in check. I mean, you don't have like a female bodybuilder, not a female bodybuilder, but a female fighter coming out there, you know, just that looks like a, you know, Miss Olympia or whatever, you know what I mean? It does keep it from that. It keeps it somewhat in check. I mean, even down to someone like Nick Diaz, you know, he's constantly talking. I'm a huge Nick Diaz fan, but I'm just bringing this for food for thought. And you can take it, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but a lot of times when people like Lance Armstrong, for example, he all the time talked about drugs. People say, people want to know what I'm on. I'm on my bike 6 hours a day. That's what he would constantly talk about drugs. When he was on steroids, and that's one of the things, and you hear Nick Diaz all the time talking about, oh, this guy's on steroids, George Sevier was on steroids, and, you know, like these guys that I know that train, they just chronically train and train and train and train and train. They don't get sore. Their shoulders should be sore, their knees should be sore. It's not because they're all geared up. They're all gassed up. Okay? It's like, you know, you've seen these things with Nick Diaz, like, you know, what does he do on his time off? He runs a triathlon. Yeah, he just goes and goes and goes. Like these guys I know who done 40 marathons and they just go and go and go. Who their idea of training is getting on their bicycles and going out on the damn highway. And riding on the highway all the way straight south out of here. That's their idea of training. I mean, that's how they train. Okay, you don't get all geared up and you go for a ride with them and see how that goes for you. You know, and then with Nick Diaz, like, and I'm just using it as an example, it's not just him, but it's like, oh, we don't take steroids and this and that. And then you see who gets busted. El Nino, his training partner, gets busted for steroids. You know, so, and Jake Shields and all this, so like, did Jake Shields get busted for steroids? I got busted for something. I mean, I don't even pay attention to who gets busted for steroids. You know, from Anderson Silva to this or that. But what the drug testing does do is it's somewhat keeping it in check. But guys, I just want to keep it real. I mean, even for the fighters, like I said, Renan Barão, maybe he thought he was going to go in there and fight somebody who was natural. I don't need the drugs. No, you need the drugs because this is fighting. It's a hardcore sport. And it's the hardcore reality of it. And you guys that are fans,